Hello. Welcome back to another episode of The Towel Boy, where we try to give you the cleanest takes in sports. In today's video, we're going to give my personal opinion, deep dive, and predicting the 2025 NFL standings. We're going to break it down division by division, um, give the overall conference playoff format, playoff picture, and kind of talk about each team a little bit, my thoughts on their floor and their ceiling. Like always, you can see I have this posted on my blog at hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. I'll post a link there. I encourage you to go check it out. I like to visualize things, so it has it written out a little bit. Go make sure you check that out, comment there. Um, but yeah, we're just going to break it down, kind of give this will kind of give my thoughts. Also, you see my predictions on where teams kind of stand going into the season, right? Football's full swing of things. Almost last Thursday, we had the Hall of Fame game. This upcoming Thursday, preseason kicks off. Exciting times with football starting. Um, so, without further ado, I want to get into my 2025 standings predictions for the NFL. We're going to start off in the AFC and the AFC East. First place, I have the Buffalo Bills going 13-4. Simply put, they're the best team, maybe in football, but they're the best team in the AFC East by far. There's no true competitor to really give them a run for their money at the top of this division. Josh Allen won MVP last year. I just look on them uh, to be as consistent of a team as they were last year. I don't really expect to fall off 13-4. I think this is pretty much perfect about where the Bills can be. But then I think there's definitely a fall off in this division with the next three teams. At number two, I predict the New York Jets will be the second place team in the East. I have them going 9-8. I think their defense is really good. I'm a big fan of what they got going on there. If they combine that, I think Justin Fields is going to be good enough to manage games into not lose you games, if that makes sense. Like he's not going to win you the games. Like if you have to have a 14-point fourth quarter comeback, he won't do that. But their defense will keep them in games. He's going to be solid enough. Um, Garrett Wilson, I think, is going to have a big year. I think Braylon Allen and Brees Hall can have good seasons. If Justin Fields is just decent enough, they can win about nine-ish games. So I have them going 9-8, second place in the East. Third place, I have the Patriots. I have them going 8-9. Um, Originally, when I was going through these East team schedules and kind of making my predictions, I saw Vegas line had the Patriots winning. I think their game total, at least last I checked, was 8.5 wins, which I was like, whoa, there's no way they get even close to that, right? But my predictions here, I have them winning 8 games. So obviously, it's a pretty good line. I don't think there's enough there to really make a true playoff push or even go above 500. But I think 8 and 9 is about their ceiling, in my opinion. I'm a big Drake May fan. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in this league. And I think if you're the Patriots, you really measure this season by how does Drake May look. So if he comes in, has a great sophomore year, even if you win 5, 6 games and he looks fantastic, wow, that's a win for the Patriots, right? But I think the Patriots going to they have enough. Their defense, not the best, but could be average. Um, their offense has intriguing young pieces, but I don't think they have enough to really threaten. So I have them going 8-9, which like I said, I think is about their ceiling. But then at number four, this one might be a little bit surprising. I had the Miami Dolphins. I have them going 7-10. I think Mike McDaniel is kind of on the hot seat a little bit. Last year, the Dolphins didn't look great. Uh, I don't. I'm not the hugest fan of Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's okay. I don't think he's great at anything. I think the NFL has kind of figured out like the Dolphins, lots of motion, their speed option offense. I think the Dolphins just need to toughen up on the inside, right? You have to have that, and I don't think that they have that in the trenches really. Now, I could look silly looking back because a team with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, Devon Achane, right? Those are some huge playmakers. So if they bounce back, like if Tyreek has a bounce back season, um, you could definitely win games. You can outscore opponents. So I can see them winning closer to 9, 10 games. So I think 7 wins is about their floor. But I have the Dolphins fourth place. So the AFC East, I have the Bills first place, 13-4. Then I have the Jets at 9-8, Patriots 8-9, Dolphins 7-10. Then the AFC North, I think, is a very fun division because it has some of the biggest stars in the league, right? You got Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Uh, there's a really fun division. The Aaron Rodgers storyline in Pittsburgh. Um, but I have the Ravens winning this division. I don't think that's a huge surprise. They were maybe the best team in football last year. Still haven't gotten over that hurdle to get to the Super Bowl. Um, but kind of like the Bills, I expect them to be just as good, if not better, than last year. Lamar Jackson might be the best player in football. I think their defense is pretty solid. Derrick Henry's still there. Um, so 13 wins might be their floor, right? So that's how good of a team I think they are. That 13 wins might be their worst case scenario. Second place in this division, I had the Cincinnati Bengals. I had them going 11-6. Now I think their defense is still going to be pretty putrid. Um, Last year they were awful, let them down constantly. I think it's going to be hopefully a little bit better, but not by much. And this team, you kind of look at them and be like, oh, you have to outscore opponents. You might have to score 30 points, 40 points a game. And I think they will. I think this offense is so fun, so electric. I'm predicting they don't start off as slow as they kind of have been known to in the Joe Burrow era. So I have them going 11-6. I think they're going to have a better offense than most teams. They can outscore opponents. Um, and so I have the Bengals going 11-6 here. Third place, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. If you know me, if you've read my blog or followed me before, you know how much respect I have for Mike Tomlin. Um, and how much I don't like Aaron Rodgers. So that's kind of a funny world that are meshing together here. Um, Now I know Steelers fans are kind of getting sick of being just above 500. Like they haven't won a playoff game and forever. They're never truly elite teams, but Mike Tomlin has been such a great coach to get them to win in the regular season at least. But this year, predict that Aaron Rodgers is going to come in and ruin Mike Tomlin's um, winning record streak. I had the Steelers going 8-9. Um, they're kind of going all in, right? They made the trade for Jalen Ramsey, brought in Aaron Rodgers. I like Caleb Johnson as their rookie running back. They got DK Metcalf. Um, but DK Metcalf, again, as far as weapons go, he's like their only true like receiver threat. Um, Calvin Austin is probably their number two receiver. Now, I'm a big Calvin Austin fan, was a fan of his when he came out of Memphis. But if he's your number two, that's not something that defenses will really lose sleep over. Um, so I had the Steelers going 8-9. Kind of maybe that's a surprise, maybe not, but they're going to be right around 800 again, but this time falling below that line. Tomlin loses his streak. Then in fourth place, last place in the division, I have the Cleveland Browns. Um, I think it's a shame because I think their defense is going to be borderline elite. But I just don't think they kind of the opposite of the Bengals. They don't have enough offensively to beat other teams. Uh, Joe Flacco is probably their best bet to start at the quarterback position if they want to try to win games to start the season, which is what I would do. I think you always want to try to win games, but he's probably not the answer. They made the trade for Kenny Pickett. They gave up capital, but it's Kenny Pickett. Uh, he doesn't move the needle at all. Dylan Gabriel, Shadur Sanders, the rookies, they don't move the needle at all. So they have too many question marks at the quarterback position. Quinshon Judkins, I was super excited about, but then now, how much is he going to play? Is he going to play? Not a lot of offensive weapons there. I like David Njoku. Jerry Judy had a breakout year last year, but if there's no one throwing them the ball, that doesn't really matter. So the Browns go 3-14, waste a really good defense. The AFC North, I have top Ravens 13-14, then the Bengals at 11-6, Steelers going 8-9, and then the Browns bottom place 3-14. Now we'll move to the AFC South, which is I think the worst division in the AFC. Um, I First place I have the Houston Texans. I think they're going to bounce back from what was maybe a little bit of a disappointing year last year, but there were so many injuries. Their offensive line was terrible. I don't think CJ Stroud was as bad as some people want to think. I think he does bounce back. Now, I don't think they improved their line. Maybe on paper they got worse somehow, but they made changes, so hopefully it improves. Their defense is pretty solid. Um, looking at their schedule, I don't hate their schedule, but also the Titans and the Colts in this division, they have to play. That's going to be 4 games. That might just be 4 easy wins, right? So I have the Houston Texans going 12-5. I think that's probably their ceiling. So 10 to 12 wins probably more is like their range in my opinion. So I went with their ceiling in these predictions. Texans first place. Second place, I surprised myself. I think this will be a surprise to a lot of people. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I have them going 10-7. 10 wins for the Jags. I think Liam Cohen is going to come in, hopefully tap into that potential that Trevor Lawrence is kind of what he's known for not living up to his potential. So hopefully we can tap into that. Um, Brian Thomas is a stud. Travis Hunter is a beast. I still think Travis Etienne. If you mix in Bashaw Tootin, take Bigsby in that backfield, and then similar to the Texans, Titans, and Colts might just be 4 wins you can kind of give them right there, right? So Jags I have going 10-7, a little bit of a surprise. Then at third place, I had the Tennessee Titans going 4-13. I think this is probably their ceiling, which is not great, but I'm excited to watch Cam Ward. But I just don't think they have enough around Cam Ward to do a whole ton yet, right? They're going to build for the future. They're not ready to compete yet. Calvin Ridley, I think, is still pretty solid, but they have no other weapons. They have what super old Tyler Lockett, right? Uh, Defense, I think, is below average. So 4-13 for the Titans with a rookie quarterback, I think is just fine. Then I have the Colts last place going 4-13. Whether it's Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson, I think both those QBs are pretty not very good, to put it kindly. So I don't see them winning a ton of games. Their defense is okay. If Jonathan Taylor has a beast season, I can see them maybe winning like 6 games, while Daniel Jones is being a manager or Richardson takes a leap. But I don't really see that happening too much. I have the Colts going 4-13 here. Um, and then moving on to the AFC West, which I think is the best division in all of the National Football League, right? It's been owned by the Chiefs for like about a decade now. But I think there's 4 good teams in this division. Chiefs, until someone dethrones the Chiefs, I'm going to have the Chiefs winning it. But then the Chargers and Broncos, I think, are both playoff caliber teams. Raiders, I think, could be a really good team, could maybe push for a wild card, but they just probably not yet. Like if they were in the NFC South, um, they might win the division, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself, getting to the rankings. I had the Chiefs going first place. I had them going 12-5, which I can see them winning less games this year, kind of falling off a little bit. Because is Rashid Rice going to be suspended? Is Travis Kelsey going to be fully? He's probably regressing a little bit. But as long as they have Andy Reid and Mahomes, which who have been probably almost for a decade now, which is crazy, but the best QB coach tandem, until they are dethroned, I'm going to have them winning the division. So I have them going 12-5 and winning. The Chargers, I have second place. I have them going 11-6. I'm just a big fan of what Harbaugh and Roman are trying to do. Build through the trenches, be tough, physical. I think it's going to work. I really think Najee and Amari Hampton could be a good 1-2 punch. Um, Lad McConkey, I think, gives Herbert a weapon. Trey Harris is an intriguing rookie. I hope there's still some promise and potential for Quentin Johnston, for QJ to uh, do something, right? Former first round pick. You hope there's still potential there. I think Keenan Allen probably signs there, and I think he actually is a big addition. He's still got some juice. He's gonna maybe he's not the same Keenan Allen, but he's gonna return um, potentially and really bolster this team. So if that happens, especially look for them to be maybe a bigger threat than you might perceive. I'm pretty high on the Chargers, so I have them going 11-6. Then in third place, I have the Denver Broncos going 10-7. The Broncos, this is just a tough division, right? Because you have to play these other teams. And this goes for all of the teams, right? 6 games out of your schedule are going to be against 3 of the better teams in the NFL. Then the Broncos also have to play like, people like the Cowboys, the Eagles. So it's like a tough schedule. But I still have them going 12-7. I'm 10-7. Excuse me, 10-7. 10-win season, which I think with this sophomore QB, you'll definitely take that, right? I think their defense, other than maybe the Eagles, is the best in the NFL. The Broncos going 10-7, I think is a win. I don't think there's elite weapons offensively. adding Evan Ingram and Dobbins and RJ Harvey through the draft makes your team better. You paid Cortland Sutton. The defense has Surtain, former reigning defensive player of the year. They just extended Zach Allen. They're going to probably extend Nick Benito. Their defense is going to keep them in games. If Bo can just progress off of what he did last year, you're looking at a playoff team, I think. So Broncos going 10-7. And then in last place, I, as a Broncos fan, I don't love this organization as far as rivalry goes, but I like what they're building here in Las Vegas. I have the Raiders going 7-10, which I felt like they deserved more wins, but like I said, they play three really good teams. There's going to be six of their games. I'm excited to watch them though. They finally have a QB. Pete Carroll is an interesting head coach move, but they finally have a QB which they haven't had in who knows how long. Geno Smith, I'm a big fan of. Adding Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers had a historic rookie season, so they're adding pieces. I think Jacoby Myers is underrated. I'm excited to watch the Raiders. I hate to say, but I still think 7-10 is a pretty realistic outcome for them, just because they have a pretty tough schedule, mostly due to their division being maybe the best in all of football, right? So that rounds out East Division. And again, like I said, you can visualize this, especially this next playoff picture part, at my blog, hoopsandstuff.blogspot.com. I'll put a link down below. Please go check that out. But AFC playoff picture, I have the Bills and the Ravens. They have the same record. Uh, I think in my prediction, I had the Bills beating the Ravens when they played. So I had the Bills, the one seed, then the two seed. I had the Ravens, the three seed, the Chiefs, four seed Texans. Those are your division winners. Um, the five seed, the top wild card, I had the Chargers. They would play the Texans in the wild card round. Six seed wild card, I got the Bengals. That would be a fun matchup going Burrow going into Arrowhead to play Mahomes. And then I had the Broncos and the Jaguars both had identical records based off of this scenario, this prediction. And I'm going to be completely honest here. Basically, my Broncos bias came into play here, so I gave the Broncos this last wild card spot. They would go travel to Baltimore, play the Ravens in the wild card. So that's my AFC predictions, and we're about to move on to the NFC. And the NFC, we're starting in the NFC East. The reigning Super Bowl champions. Uh, we got the Philadelphia Eagles, and I have the Eagles going 12-5, which is their floor. So that's a pretty damn good team if you have 12 wins as your absolute floor, in my opinion. Um, you have a little quote unquote Super Bowl hangover, maybe. But they're playing some pretty good teams in this schedule. 12 wins is not bad. They're returning the best roster on paper in the NFL. Eagles first place 12-5. Second place, I'm kind of high on Dak's return, so I have the Dallas Cowboys going 11-6. The run game will be competent enough. Um, Now, as I'm recording this, yesterday Micah Parsons had that crazy post requesting a trade. We'll see if that's a whole bunch of nothing, or if he does get traded, that might change things. But as of right now, I have the Cowboys. I have them projected 11 wins, going 11-6. The third place, I have the Commanders going 9-8. Last year, they had a magical season, right? Way exceeded expectations. I kind of expect a quote unquote sophomore slump. Not necessarily that Jake Daniels will play bad or the team is going to regress, but if you just think about it, they had tons of wins last year that were crazy last second plays or an insane fourth quarter comeback. I think they'll regress kind of like back down to the median of what those games could have been like last year. So I have them going 9-8. Still a good team, but maybe back to reality a little bit. Maybe that's viewing them a little negatively. I just don't think there's a ton of weapons. If McLaurin gets traded, I don't think he will. Debo doesn't move the needle for me. Defensively, I think there's still ways to go for the Commanders, but I think they're building to be really good. You have your franchise QB. We'll see what happens, but I have them going 9-8. And then the New York Giants, I have last place in this division. I have them going 3-14. I don't love their QB room. Uh, their run game, I don't love. 3-14, probably their floor. Russell Wilson, I can see them managing games. I think Dayball's an awesome coach. Hopefully he doesn't get fired, but if they don't win games, he's probably gone. But Wilson, I think, can manage games, so I can see them maybe winning 5, 6 games. Most likely scenario, in my opinion, they start off slow. Dayball makes a rush move, trying to save his job, puts in Jackson Dart. That's not going to win you games. They're going to go 3-14. Their defense will improve. Their front seven is going to be really exciting. People like Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, adding Abdul Carter. I think they could be a fun front seven. I just don't see them winning a lot of games. So in the NFC East, Eagles first place, 12-5. Cowboys at second place, 11-6. Commanders in third, going 9-8, and then the Giants at 3-14, rounding out the division. Then moving on to the NFC North. This might be the best division in the NFC. I think the NFC North and the NFC West are the two best divisions. But in the North, first place, I got the Detroit Lions again. Ben Johnson's going to be gone. We'll see if that changes things. It will a little bit, of course, but I still think there's a good team. Dan Campbell's a great coach. Uh, I had them going 12-5. Not much to add other than I think they're going to be about as good as they were last year, winning the division, going 12-5. Then in second place, I have the Green Bay Packers. I have them going 10-7. Uh, I think that they're one of those teams. Last year, a they had a pretty good point differential, which didn't reflect as far into their record as you would have expected. So I think that kind of reversed what the Commanders were. Kind of, they might win a game or two more than last year. Go 10-7, make the playoffs. Uh, the Vikings, the biggest Kevin O'Connell fan. Um, but I have them going 6-11. I have them third place in this division. They have a really great defense. It's going to be hard to doubt Kevin O'Connell. He's made Sam Darnold. He's made Josh Dobbs. He even made Nick Mullins look like pretty good quarterbacks, right? So he could probably make JJ McCarthy look like a pretty good quarterback. But personally, I just think with what's basically a rookie quarterback, I don't expect them to win too many games, which um, I might be wrong because, like I said, this team has proven people wrong with quarterbacks before. McCarthy is a guy I think is probably just because I was lower than him on him than a lot of people were. I think he's got all the skills to be really good, but he's just a couple seasons away. So I think 6-11 is about where I expect him to go. Um, if JJ plays pretty good and you win 6 or 7 games, I think you'll be okay heading into the next season. All right. And then the fourth place, I have the Chicago Bears, last place, also going 6-11. Now, Bears fans might want to win more games, but basically, how I view this season is if Caleb Williams takes a leap, then you're going to consider this season a success. He's got all the weapons to look decent, right? DJ Moore, Roma Dudes that you expect to take a jump. They drafted Colson Loveland, drafted Luther Burden. Um, they got Ben Johnson calling the plays. Now, I just don't I just don't expect them to win enough games to make the playoffs. I think they're going to be. I think they are a year away from contending for the playoffs, and then a year away from being a year away from being like a really good team. So I think if you judge the season off of how Williams progresses, then that'll be a more accurate depiction of what you want the Bears to look like in the future, right? So in the North, I have the Lions going 12-5, Packers going 10-7, Vikings and Bears both going 6-11. Moving on to the NFC South, this is probably the worst division in all of football, I think. Maybe the AFC South, but so the two South divisions, but I think this division is pretty bad. Like I said, I think the Raiders might win this division. To me, there's a clear winner. There's a clear best team. I had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning in this division. I definitely went on the high end outcome for the Buccaneers season. I had them going 12-5. Now I can see them winning anywhere from 9 to 12 games, right? So this is definitely their ceiling pick. But I had them going 12-5. I like Baker. I think adding Egbuka is going to be really good. They were an explosive offense last year. Hopefully they can build on that again. Second place, I have the Falcons. I have them going 8-9. In my opinion, this is the most like 8-9, 9-8 team you can imagine. They're just pretty average across the board. I think Penix is going to be fine. I don't think he's going to be great. Second year rookie, not rookie, second year QB. There's going to be ups and downs. 8-9 is about what I expect. In third place, I have the Carolina Panthers. They're going to make improvements, I think. I'm a Bryce Young fan. I have them going 7-10. Their defense is still a mess. There's not a ton of weapons around Bryce Young. Like Tedero McMillan, I like that addition. Um, so I think 7 wins is on the high end outcome for the Panthers as well. Um, but kind of like the Bears, if Bryce Young proves that he's your franchise QB, that is a successful season for you, right? You build off of Bryce Young. Hopefully, he makes that connection with Tedero McMillan. You keep building. That's a successful season. So 7 wins and Bryce Young improves. I think Panthers fans take that and run with it all day. And then in fourth place, I have the team who I think is the worst in the NFL. I have the New Orleans Saints. I have them going 1-16. 1 win. Now, obviously, that's basically their floor, but they have the worst QB room in the league. Uh, Tyler Shuck is probably their starter, but if their QB battle, quote unquote battle, is Tyler Shuck, Spencer Rattler, and Jake Hayner, that's a awful situation to be in, right? Like Chris Olave is a good receiver, but he's one concussion away from maybe his career being over. Brandon Cooks, I think, can still be productive, but he has no one throwing him the ball. Rashid Shaheed, same thing. Who's deep ball threat? Who's going to throw him those um, down the field vertical passes, right? Defense, I don't think is very good. Kamara is slowly regressing. I think Saints are just a bad team, simply put. So, Saints fans, if you're watching this, I would love to hear. Am I being too negative? Do you guys expect anything more positive? Like to me, I think the most positive thing that can happen this season is you guys lose a lot of games and get Garrett Nussmeier in the draft, right? That's just the best case scenario for Saints, in my opinion. So let me know if I'm way off here. What do you guys think? But in the South, I had the Buccaneers winning 12 games, then the Falcons at 8-9, Panthers at 7-10, Saints at 1-16. Then last division, I have the NFC West, which I think probably might just edge out just top to bottom the NFC North for the best division in this conference. I surprised myself when I was looking at these teams. I have the San Francisco 49ers not only winning this division, but having the best record in the entire NFC. Um, I think the defense is not as elite as it was a couple of years ago. Still solid. I think McCaffrey bounces back from injury. Question marks at the receiver position with Ayuk and Pearsall having injury concerns, maybe not playing all. They won't be playing every game. Jawan Jennings requested a trade, but that's probably just a leverage thing. But they still have George Kittle, who is, in my opinion, might have the best tight end season. Uh, and I looking at their schedule, they have a pretty easy schedule where I'm looking at these, I'm like, oh, they can win this game. They'll win this game. They can win this game. So when it came down to it, I was like, wow, I had them going 13-4. So again, that's probably their ceiling. Um, but this prediction in this scenario, I had the Niners winning the West, winning the NFC with 13 wins. Then second place in this division, I had the Los Angeles Rams. I'm still quite a believer in McVay, quite a believer in Stafford. Adding Adams with Puka, I think, is an awesome wide receiver tandem. Last year, at the end of the season, they started to get, they were really rolling, right? No team would have wanted to play them if you had to play them in the playoffs. I think they carried that momentum into the season. I had them going 11-6, second place in the West. Third place, I have the Cardinals going 8-9. Um, they were a tough team for me to predict because I like Kyler. I think Marv is going to take a step. You hope they make a better connection. This is a really big year for Kyler to prove that he can be the guy in Arizona. If not, he might be gone. But their defense is just average. Offense is just average. So I had them going 8-9, right? A team that's about an 800 team, they're going to have ups and downs. And when I was looking at their schedule, making my predictions, I had them going 8-9, which best case scenario, I can see the Cardinals winning 10 games. Um, but like I said, that's best case scenario in my opinion. Cardinals in this scenario, I had them going 8-9. And then last place, I had the Seattle Seahawks going 6-11. Their defense is, I think, slightly below average. I think maybe I'm being negative, but I think Darnold benefited a lot, let's say, from the Kevin O'Connell system last year. I'm not a huge believer in him. I'm slightly lower than consensus. Sorry. On JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. Don't get me wrong; he's still a really good receiver, but some people have him maybe as a top 10 receiver. I don't see that. I don't think he's going to elevate the game of Darnold. like last year, Justin Jefferson elevated the game of Sam Darnold. I don't think that JSN does that. Adding Cooper Cup is interesting. I think that could be a fun addition. But if Kenneth Walker's healthy, Darnold proves me wrong and is actually not an O'Connell merchant and is a good quarterback. Walker stays healthy. I could look back. This might be my worst prediction. I can see them, 9, 10, 10 wins, right? But I don't love their schedule. I don't think Darnold is going to elevate the team. I had them going 6-11. So those were my NFC divisions. Looking at the NFC playoff picture, like I said, surprised myself. Best team in the NFC. I had the San Francisco 49ers getting that bye in the wild card. And then second seed, I had the Philadelphia Eagles. Then third place, Detroit Lions. Fourth place, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Those are rounding out your division winners. And then the wild card, the top ranked wild card team, I had the Dallas Cowboys at the 5 seed. They would play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6 seed, I would have the Rams. They would go play the Lions, and then the Packers right out my last spot in the wild card, playing the Philadelphia Eagles. And then there it is. There's my 2025 NFL standings predictions. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm sure there's going to be a wide variation of what people agree with, don't agree with. So please comment, let me know. What do you guys think? What do you guys expect out of each division, or certain teams that you're excited to watch that maybe you think I'm too low on? What teams am I too high on? I always love having conversations and seeing what other people think. So, like I said, I'll put the link in for my blog where you can kind of visualize this. And coming up, I'm going to do my awards predictions, hot takes videos for the upcoming season. So I'm really excited for football season. I hope you guys are too. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, have a great one.